fellow Toastmasters, it gives me great pleasure to introduce our next presenter, Laurel Wingert. Laurel has been actively involved in Toastmasters since March of 2012. She belongs to two clubs, Weekend Wordmasters and most recently BLT Advanced Toastmasters in Regina. Through Toastmasters, Laurel has increased her confidence, worked on her leadership skills, and improved her verbal and written communication. Laurel received the notable Distinguished Toastmaster Award in July 2017. She has served as the District Finance Manager 2016 through 17, the Audit Chair 2017 through 2018, Pathways Ambassador 2017 to 2018, Division B Director 2018 to 2019, District Leadership Committee 2019 to 20, and Division B Circle of Gold Committee 20 to 21. What a wealth of knowledge and experience Laurel has to share with us today. She has been asked to share a secret formula with us in motivating people. Please help me welcome Laurel Wingert to the screen with more than one way to motivate someone.
Hello, everyone. I just want to make sure that everybody sees the horse trying to drink the water. Is that what we see? I'm sure you've all heard that old adage. You can bring a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Well, that is what motivating someone is. You can give somebody all the greatest ideas in the world. You can give them all the opportunities, but if they don't want to take it, they are not going to. It's going to be a struggle, and it's going to be extremely difficult. And that's the lesson that I had to learn in my entire life. I have so many great ideas. I've lived a long time. I know everything. I know the best. And I would tell all these people those ideas and no one would want to listen. And then I had to realize that, hey, wow, how can I really motivate someone to succeed? And I had to change a few of my behaviors and some of my attitudes to do that. And now I hope that when I bring that horse to water, they will take a drink. There's always the people that won't, and that's okay too. But I wanted to share some of the things that I learned along my way on how to motivate people. Just going to figure out how to change the screens. It was working at my last session. There we go. I also learned there was more than one way to motivate. In order to understand what motivation is, you need to understand what it means, and you need to understand people. For me, I want to share a story with being motivated. When I first started Toastmasters, I wanted to be in Toastmasters because I wanted to learn about public speaking, only because I have a big brother, Bob, who is a public speaker and leadership coach, and I definitely wanted to be able to be like him and respected as he was. But when I joined Toastmasters, I was still really shy, really reserved, and there was not much I could do to get motivated to get out of my box. One of the things that my friend Jeanette Caldwell taught me was she kind of knew me and watched me. And believe it or not, whenever I would help her do something when she was an area director, she would give me a pair of shoes. I know that sounds crazy, but it all of a sudden, it made me feel like, hey, this girl really knows me, and what she's doing is understanding what motivates me. Now, I'm pretty sure a pair of shoes isn't going to motivate everyone, but that was the beginning of my journey. Some people like to be motivated with certificates, pieces of paper. They like to be motivated with things. There's all those different things. And so as a person, just because I like to be motivated with shoes does not mean that you want to be motivated with shoes. And that's what I needed to learn. I needed to learn that what motivated me did not motivate others. And that was a really hard lesson to learn, because for me, I grew up in a very strong Christian home. And my mom's favorite saying was, do unto others as you do unto them. And what that meant to me is how I wanted to be treated, I would treat other people the same way. And then I learned, and it took me a long time to learn that that's not necessarily the case. What you need to do and learn, and what I needed to think about, was I needed to treat the person like they wanted to be treated. Therefore, I needed to understand what motivation meant to other people, and I need to learn to understand others. How do you understand each other? It's something that is really interesting to learn. Watch them, listen to them, get to know them. Toastmasters International has a wonderful project in level 2 that most of the paths have, and that is understanding your communication style. If you can understand how people communicate, then that's the first step in getting to know them. Do this project if you have the opportunity. Get to level 2 because it is an amazing project to understand. It might even be something you want to do as a club, to go through and share where you landed and what you did. Toastmasters International goes through it with a test, a quiz, and it talks about all these different communication styles. It talks about the direct communication. For a direct person, that person needs to feel that they're in control, and they get frustrated when they're dependent on others. If you understand that that's the type of person they are, you can talk to them and make them feel that they are in control. And then you will have a relationship with them and you're able to motivate them. There's the initiating style. That's the sociable style. That person needs to feel accepted and is motivated by relationships. Perhaps me wanting to be accepted and being given a given shoes is a way of the initiating style that I probably was more like back in the old days. Supportive. These people, if you bring them in front and start acknowledging them and putting them out, that they will shy away from that. They like praise to be given privately. So if you understand a person is that supportive communication style, you will understand what they need to be motivated. And then there's the analytical person. This person is motivated by certainty and will rarely give an opinion unless asked. And that's how this project in Toastmasters can help everybody motivate who you're talking to. It is so important to understand each other and how we communicate. What are you doing to learn how others communicate? I'm a direct communicator right now in my life. I'm also initiating as well. And I need to understand when I talk to people in my direct approach, which can sometimes, and yes, it can be off-putting, that might not motivate them. But if I can find out what motivates them, I can talk to them in one of these different ways and I can motivate them to do something. And that has been very helpful. I'm not perfect. I blow it all the time because we're human and we get stressed. But for the most part, if you really think about it, take a deep breath, getting to know that person and how they communicate, that will really help you to motivate them. Motivation also means to listen to them. We have 2 ears and we have 1 mouth. And I'm sure all of you have heard this before. We need to listen twice as hard as we need to talk. Whenever I would talk to anybody, I would be planning answering my questions, thinking in advance what I wanted to say to them. If there was a pause or a spot, I think I needed to talk. It was not a good way to be. I really had to practice listening. One of the best ways to learn how to listen in Toastmasters in learning how to evaluate somebody, because you have to listen. Because if you don't listen to their speech and you've got I'm going to make this for dinner in my brain, or, oh, I forgot to make my bed this morning, or I really need a new outfit tomorrow. You don't hear their speech and you're not giving them an effective evaluation. When you listen to somebody, really think about your posture. Use your open posture. You actually do listen better if you're leaning forward and looking at the person and understanding them. There's also one item in the world today that really stops people from listening to other people, and that is the phone. Do a little practice with yourself, a little test. Play a game on your phone and have somebody tell you a story about their weekend. And then do this for 2 or 3 minutes. And then try to tell them back what they had said. Chances are you probably heard a few things, but it's not as much as it could have been. Then try it again with leaning forward, looking at them, shutting down your brain for any other thoughts, shutting your mouth and open up those ears and listen to what they're saying. And you will be able to probably verbatim say what they're trying to say, or at least get the gist of what they're saying. It's a really good way to understand. When we're listening, also take away those distractions like the phone or the TV or even music. A lot of people say when they're at work, they need to listen to music. And maybe when you're working with spreadsheets or different things like that, it might help. But if you're trying to be in a meeting and you're listening to music, chances are you're probably not getting the most out of the meeting that you could be getting out of the meeting. Really learn to listen. Toastmasters International in the Legacy program, and they still have it, has a wonderful session. It's a 3-hour session on learning to listen. It is really interesting. And one of the things that I took away from that particular session is 9 techniques for learning to listen. One of the ways is to like to listen. Really learn to like it. You need to learn to ignore distractions. And after you're done listening to that person, summarize what they're saying. Make sure that it's a two-way street. So if someone tells me a story, I can say, this is what I heard. Is that what you said? And this is a tough one, taming your emotions, because not everyone is going to be having the same thought that you have had, and you might not agree. But everybody has a right to their opinion, and listen to what they have to say, because it is important that you do listen to your emotions and tame them. Eliminate hasty judgment and never interrupt. You want to inspire openness, because if you inspire openness, a person will be willing to share with you. And if they are willing to share with you, you can motivate them. You need to acknowledge the need to listen, and then at the end, again, summarize and generate conclusions. And in the chat window, Veronica has shared this presentation, Like to Listen, and it's a little more broken down on how you can do these things to learn how to listen. I really, really want to encourage everybody to think about listening and what they do to listen, and practice that with your evaluations that you are doing, especially in the Zoom platform, because it is so easy to take out that phone and play Candy Crush when somebody is giving a speech, and then you might miss it. What else does motivation mean? When you know someone and you listen to someone and you get to know them and you find out what drives them and what they're looking for, and you listen to what they say, and I mean listen, a person might not say to you, I really want to be an area director someday, because chances are that's not what they're going to say. They might say something like, in my job, I don't get the opportunity to lead a team. I really like to work with kids. Or I would like to learn a little bit more about how to coach someone. When you hear those things and you're listening, you're thinking, hey, that person never gets an opportunity to lead a team. Maybe they would like to be an area director. We have a youth leadership program. And by the way, the youth leadership program is another reason I stay in Toastmasters. Amazing program. I like to work with kids. It's another motivating factor for me was being invited to the youth leadership program and helping out. That was, to me, another stepping stone in my journey to Toastmasters. And I remember Keith Lee had said to me after one of the meetings, he says, when would you like to run one of these? I think he looked at me and he knew that leading those children and helping them grow really caused my heart to bloom. And he asked me that question and I wasn't ready. But eventually I did lead my own youth leadership program. I've done it twice now and I would do it again. And that to me is a person who motivated me to come out of my shell and lead a leadership program, because what he saw in me, because he was paying attention, was huge. So as a person, what motivates you and what an opportunity for you is might not be that other person. I still want to be an area director someday. I've never been an area director because I've never really wanted to lead a team, or prior to recently, I've never really wanted to lead a team. What I was comfortable in doing was being a finance manager. And there was a few folks who realized that I was just not ready to come out of my comfort zone, but I needed some leadership experience. And they gave me the opportunity to become the finance manager. After that, I have taken on some other leadership roles because it gave me the courage and the motivation to try something new. You're listening to that person, you understand what they want, help them, give them opportunities so they can succeed. And speaking of opportunities to succeed, we are looking for club coaches in Division B. Please reach out to your area director because we really need some more club coaches. See if I can change the screen. All right, now this is where my technology may or may not work for us. But I want to talk about common motivators for people. Everybody's different. And everybody loves money. We all love money. We like to get a raise. We like to get all of those type of things. And I have a YouTube video that I'm going to try to play. Let's see if it works. Cross your fingers. It's going to take a bit. Oops. Oh, I think it's going to work soon. This is the first time I've ever tried to do something like that, and I practiced this morning. And if it doesn't work, that's okay. You will all forgive me because I tried. Oh, I think it's spinning on my end. It's probably going to go through.
What can I do for you, Rod? You just tell me, what can I do for you?
It's a very personal.
Okay, it's playing on my end, but it's not playing on your end. So it might not work. I'm just going to stop it because it's probably not going to work.
I was hearing it, so.
You were hearing it?
Yeah.
Okay. But you're not seeing it, but you're hearing it, but not seeing it.
Here it is.
Okay, well, hearing it is still good because the hearing is the good part.
Show me the money.
Jerry, does that make you feel good just to say that? Say it with me one time, Jerry.
Show you the money.
Oh, no, you can do better than that, Jerry. I want you to say it with meaning, brother. Hey, I got Bob Sugar on the other line. I better hear you say it.
No. Show you the money.
Not show you. Show me the money.
Show me the money.
Yeah. Louder.
Show me the money.
That's it, brother, but you got to yell.
Show me the money.
I need to feel you, Jerry.
Show me the money.
Jerry, you better yell. Show me the money.
So that is money. We all want the money. We all want the raise. We all want all of that. But that is a motivator for just about everyone. But it's not really the key motivator. a lot of people might decide that they want to take a job with less money because it's better work-life balance, or they get better appreciation or better recognition. Or perhaps they get paid in shoes. I don't know. But that's something to really understand, that money isn't always the main motivator. And in Toastmasters, we don't get paid to do this. As a matter of fact, we pay to lead. My husband says to me on so many occasions, he's like, and you pay dues to do all this work? And I have to laugh, because for me, I am doing a lot of work and sometimes there's a lot of stress, but yet when I see somebody grow and learn and take on a role that I never thought they would, that is more to me than any amount of money that could be given to me. It's just something to think about, that money isn't the only thing. And I'm trying to get to the next slide here, and now it's going to. All right, praise. Let's talk about praise. That is one thing that's really important too. Another motivator is praise. Some people like to be praised for what they do. They really like the acknowledgement, the certificates, the clapping, and let's honor and do all of that. They like it. I thought I would like it, but I was recently honored with something and it made me quite uncomfortable. And I realized that I am motivated more by helping people than getting something myself. It was a huge learning curve for me. But a lot of people really do like to get that praise, and they live by it. And if that you find that your person that you're trying to motivate wants praise, find out what type of praise they like. Do they like something written? Do they want something verbal? Do they want something private? Do they want something in front of the club? Really get to know that person and find out what kind of praise that they want. Some people really need those awards and certificates to motivate them, because that's just who they are, and that's okay. I know every time I'm sent a paper certificate for club leadership or contest training, I'm like, that doesn't motivate me. I think, it's a waste of paper. So part of me, in my mind, I think, well, I don't really like it. Nobody else would like it. But I learned the hard way that some people really like it. My friend and / mentor mentee, because we go back and forth on this, Arunima, loves those papers and their certificates, and she lives by them. And I realized that, and I learned that from her, that just because I didn't like them, other people did. So it's important to take the time to give everybody that and find out what they want. Because if you think, I don't like it, nobody else is going to like it, you might be missing out on an opportunity to motivate someone. Hard to move these forward when you got slow internet. Sorry, folks, my internet's acting up. There we go. Public recognition. That's another motivator. Some people really like that recognition out in the public. They want everybody to know that they accomplished something. They might even want it in the paper. We talked about this in VP of Education training, that there's an opportunity when people get a goal to send a letter off to their supervisor, their boss, or their workplace. Some people like that. Some people don't. If you're listening to the person and you understand them, you'll realize that that's maybe something they want to have done. You can come right out and ask them too. Public recognition isn't a huge deal for me. I just recently learned that on the side here. It's okay. I don't really like that. I kind of like I like feeling like I'm accepted, but I don't need a big deal out of it. So think about that when you're trying to think about motivating somebody and what motivates them. This one is a huge one for me, more responsibility. What motivates me is more responsibility. I can be at a job, and the more responsibility they give me, the more motivated I get and the more work I will do. Some people don't like that, and some people do. So when you're listening to someone and you're understanding who they are, you're more than likely to be able to understand if they're ready for more responsibility. And some people like those promotions. That's right up there with the money business. And some people don't really care about the promotion. We can tell that from people, even in Toastmasters. There's people that really aspire to get up to the levels that maybe even international president, because they want to keep moving up, because to them that motivates them. The more promotions they get, the more motivated they are. And if they are motivated by that, give them opportunities, share with them what's next for them and what can be done. I'm not interested in getting to higher levels, but other people are, and I don't want to stop them from getting what they need. So if I get in my own head and think, I don't really want to do this, then I'm stopping myself from motivating somebody to do what could be beneficial in what they need. Part of being a motivator with someone is literally getting out of your own head and into their head, and understanding who they are, what drives them, what motivates them, what they need. It was a hard lesson for me to learn in my lifetime about motivation. Another thing that is really important with motivating is to recognize immediately and appropriately. Sometimes it's difficult to recognize immediately. Use your judgment. You don't want to stop a meeting to recognize somebody. Maybe wait till the end. If they're a private person, maybe call them later, zoom them up and recognize how great they did. Send them a little private chat. Oh, you did awesome. But one thing is to be aware of is that we can recognize people and what they're doing, but what we want to do is we want to recognize the good things they're doing. It's very difficult. I have Owen here, and he's a handful, and we need to acknowledge him when he does something good, but we kind of have to ignore the bad behavior. So in order to motivate someone to get on the right path, recognize the appropriate and the good behavior, and just help them through changing what they're doing. Perhaps they're speaking too fast, and you need to say, I think you can slow down a little so that we can hear your message better. It's all just the way you want to do it and perceive it. For me, it's been a really interesting journey, and it's become a very self-aware type journey to do. When I became a Toastmaster, I was in my own head. I believed that everybody thought like me and that everybody wanted everything the way I wanted it. In Toastmasters, what it taught me is that's not true. Some people like to give speeches right away, and they like to get up that ladder. It might take them 6 months to do a level 5. Some people maybe aren't ready, and it might take them a month or 2. But as long as they're doing something, get them involved in timing, get them involved in grammarian, get them involved in something. And then you will find that you will motivate those people. And this is truly, truly important, that if your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. I'm going to stop sharing and share some more personal anecdotes, my personal journey to motivate others. It's hard, it's tiring, because it's something that is probably not natural to you. It is something that a lot of people aren't born with. Some people might be born to motivate others, but they actually do learn. So let me reiterate what I learned. I learned I needed to get to know that person. And I learned that not everybody was motivated by the same things that I was motivated by. I had to learn to listen. I had to go through those techniques. I had to get out of my own head. I had to make sure I paid attention to what was going on. Learning to listen not only helped in my Toastmaster life, in my work life, and in my personal life. I've shared with a few folks how I've golfed with my husband, and he was telling me all sorts of tips and tricks on how to golf. And it was like World War III because I did not want to listen. And it was getting to the point where the other family members didn't even want us to golf in the same cart. It was quite funny. But Toastmasters and learning all this listening, now I listen to his advice and I understand it, and I've become a better, nope, I'm not a better golfer. I'm a better listener, and I'm a better wife. I'm not a better golfer. Learn to listen and learn to understand that everybody isn't communicate the same way that we all communicate. Change your communication style to do what other people and what they need to hear. If you find out they're a direct person, try to talk to them directly. Because I can tell you one thing, as a direct person, if somebody goes around and around and around and around to get to a point, it makes my head spin. But sometimes I, as a motivator, might need to tell that story around and around and around to a person who needs that better explanation. I really want to encourage everybody to think about the things that I said and understand the journey I took. I mean, I'm not there. I never will be 100% perfect. I don't think anybody is. But as long as each day I keep trying and I keep learning and I keep listening and I keep getting to know everybody, I will try. And it's my promise to all of you that if I ever don't motivate you, please talk to me, because then I need to get out of my own head and get into your head and help you, because that's what motivates me.